video time with Jodi.
Hey guys, so this month at Kids at Friends, we're going to be talking about humility. And what that means is knowing that other people are just as good as you are. Now, if you're watching this, I know that you're awesome. And part of that's because I've met a lot of you guys and you're really cool. But then part of that's just because I know that God created people to be awesome. So I know I'm awesome, and I know anybody else that's a person is also awesome too, and has great things about themselves. And even though sometimes I have a hard time understanding that, or I know that people are different than me, and I can't always figure them out, it doesn't matter. They are as good as I am, because that's how we were created to be, and that's how God created humans to be. And one of the ways that we can show people that they're just as good as we are is when they need something that we have and we give it to them. Sometimes you might have something that I need, and sometimes I might have something that you need. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about cooperation and working together. This is the same thing. So sometimes people will need stuff, and I may not want to totally give it to them, but that's the way that I acknowledge that they're just as awesome as I am. There's actually a story in the Bible about this that Jesus tells us. Why don't we take a look at it? So there was this dad, and he had two sons. So there was an older brother and a younger brother. The older brother got along with his dad really, really well, but the younger brother didn't. So because the younger brother wanted to run away, he basically went to his dad and said, "Hey dad, I don't want to live with you anymore. I want to run away, and I want you to give me money to do it." Don't really know why, but the dad gave him money and let him go and do what he wanted. So the younger brother went away and he just started spending money like crazy so he could get friends, right? So he would just buy people stuff and party all the time. So people really liked him. And he also dated a lot of women who would take his money, and he didn't really care because he wanted to date them. And he just did all that and spent all his money. And then what happened is a famine came over the land. And what that means is that things just like stopped growing, so nobody could eat anything. So because he didn't have any money left, he was actually starving, and all of his friends went away because he could no longer buy them stuff. So he was in a real pickle, and what he did is he went to this farmer and begged for a job and just said, "Hey, let me feed your pigs. I will take care of your pigs and I will do all these things that you're asking." And he was so hungry, guys, that even when he was taking care of the pigs, he'd just eat what the pigs were eating. He'd just eat the pig slop because he was so hungry. That's how bad it got for this guy. And finally, he was like, "You know what? It's so bad here that even if I was at my dad's house and was like a worker there and he hired me, I'd still be treated better than here. And at least I wouldn't be starving and having to eat pig slop." So he decided to go back to his dad. And what happened, and you can imagine, like, he was probably pretty nervous because he was pretty mean to his dad, but he came back and his dad was actually really excited to see him. And what happened is that he went running after him and hugged him and said, "I'm just so glad that you're home. I'm so glad that you're here." And the son was like, "Dad, I understand if you're mad. I understand if you don't want me to be your son anymore. That's fine. I can just be a servant." The dad's like, "Don't be silly. Let's have a party for you. I want to kill the fattened calf." So, like, that was a big deal back then, guys. If a calf was fat, you wanted to eat it, and it was for special occasions. So he's like, "Let's kill the fattened calf because you're home and have this big party." Now, the older brother was actually really, really angry about this because he had stayed and worked and stuff. So he took his dad aside and he's like, "Dad, I never left, right? I've worked hard for you. I've done all this stuff, and you're throwing him a party? What's up? Why wouldn't you kick him out? Why wouldn't you be like, hey, you didn't want to live here. Go figure it out?" And the dad just said, "You know what? We need to forgive him. He's family. We've got to bring him back in here and we've got to treat him like he's my son and your brother again." And the older brother just didn't get it. He was so angry about it and didn't want to give the younger brother anything.
So guys, in this story, you can see that the older brother actually has everything that the younger brother needs, right? And even though the dad wants to give it to him, the older brother doesn't. This is the thing about humility, guys. We are humble when we realize that even though people maybe make decisions we don't understand or have maybe hurt us or things like that, that we can still help them. That even though they've made those decisions, they were still made to be awesome. And some of the ways we can help them be awesome is by giving them what they need and setting out to help them. It's really tricky because sometimes we feel really angry and really hurt and stuff like that. But if you've got something that somebody else needs, you show humility when you give them what they need. I'll see you guys next week.